So Andy Lally here at Chicago Street Circuit. Just did the track walk a couple hours ago. What were your first impressions on what you learned from the track, and did anything stand out to you?
This track is 95% sort of your basic street circuit. There are a couple of really fast corners that you don't see on a lot of street circuits. That's going to be areas that we have to look out for. That's areas where sort of the craziness can start and sort of the chain reactions can start. So looking forward to kind of finding our way through that, trying to find the best line through that. And then the tough part is when everybody's nose to tail and racing side by side, is making the right moves at the right time to keep yourself safe, but then also going forward.
One thing that stood out to me was the bridge. I know it kind of goes up and then it sweeps down right into a hard right-hander. If it is raining, I mean, is that one spot that it stood out to me? I don't know if it stood out to you.
So the elevation changes that we have from 6 to 7 and then 11 to 12 is relatively unusual for a street circuit. This course in particular, the 6 to 7, you're braking sort of right as you finish cresting and going down, so it's going to really change the weight transfer of the car. 11 to 12 isn't too bad because it's sort of, one, we get new pavement as we sort of land, quote unquote, over the crest, and then we got another 50 yards or so that extends for us the brake zone a little bit, so the car settles down a bit before we have to turn in. But that 6 to 7 is going to be, there's going to be a lot of action there.
NASCAR's thinking outside the box. You can say it's a big risk to come here, but the last couple of years they've been taking a lot of risks with this new car. They just came back from Le Mans. How do you view NASCAR's initiative to really step outside of, you can say, that comfort zone and do events like this?
We know what we get when we stay within our box, and sort of like any company, you know, there's not going to be growth without risk, and NASCAR's done a pretty amazing job of being analytical about what they think the new fans want, while at the same time trying to keep the old fans happy. And so we've got quite a mix, probably more diverse than any other racing series on the planet here, where we go through so many different types of tracks, so many different types of ovals, but now road course, and now we're adding street circuits to it on top of Bristol dirt, places like that. But to be in the very first ever street circuit that NASCAR is ever going to run, I think it's a huge task for them, but they've done a great job so far.
I spoke with Van Gisbergen the other day to kind of, explain the differences between supercars and NASCAR and how they're both evolving over the years. You have a strong sports car background. Are you able to see similarities on how that series is not competing, but just how they're evolving with the times compared to over here?
Yeah, so all the race series, anytime you're racing cars, you're going to be a product of technological innovation, and NASCAR's not closed off to that. The things that they've evolved to in recent history has been something that just kind of get us on par. This new next gen car with the sequential box, with the lower profile tire, with the diffuser, making more use of the aerodynamics available to the car to create better downforce. That's all stuff that's, one, going to make the car faster, handle better, race better, and hopefully be safer at the same time.
Can you explain this next-gen car for people who've only driven, street-style vehicles?
So the next-gen car still has very much a NASCAR feel, but the biggest difference for me personally as a driver, when we've gone from the 15-inch wheel to the 18-inch wheel, is how quick and responsive it ends up getting. The weight is about the same, so we're still moving a lot of weight around. We still have a ton of horsepower relative to your normal street car, and we've just increased the downforce a little bit. So we've got a little wider tire, a little more downforce, one extra gear, so we get a little more individuality per corner there, and it's just a super fast race car.
Is it really perfect? I wouldn't say perfect for a street race, but compared to the Gen 6 car, do you feel like this is more apt to be a big success due to the car's ability to handle circuits like this?
I think the adaptability of the next gen car is what is letting NASCAR look into these different kinds of circuits here. With the bigger wheel, we can put a bigger brake rotor on it, which means bigger, thicker pad, which means more braking capability and longevity in those runs. So we can show up to a street circuit which generally beats up brakes, and you would worry about that on some cars, and have a much longer, better race with the new next gen.
A lot of people remember you as the 2011 Rookie of the Year in the Cup Series. Long time has passed. You haven't done a lot of Cup, but here you are with 5 races with Marcus's help. How has your view on the Cup Series evolved as the series itself has evolved?
I don't really hang my hat on the 2011 year. It was a fun year. It was a neat opportunity. I've been racing sports cars for 30 years and have a decent amount of accomplishments on that. My first love as a child was always NASCAR, so it's great to be back here again. Great to have the opportunity with Rick Ware. This is all thanks to Marcus Lemonis and this cool, wild Twitter banter that we had back and forth that resulted in Camping World being on my car for these 5 races. So really cool to be back. Love this place and honored to be here at the street circuit to do our first ever street race.
Are you scaling back on sports car racing? Like, what are your schedules for that?
I want to race every weekend. So if I currently race with John Potter in the Magnus Racing in an Aston Martin, but and we're doing probably about half of the season, and that's the team's choice. So that's, if I can do more, I do more. I coach a lot. I do a handful of NASCAR races. I do a handful of sports car stuff. But I'm going to race until I feel like I've lost a half a step and can't be as fast as I've been in my whole life.
Is that where you feel like your career is at? Like, you still feel like you have it? You know, you're kind of tiptoeing kind of in all sorts of series, but you still want to be here. The childhood dream is still there. I'm 48, so I'm not disillusioned to the fact that I am probably in my twilight of my career now, but I still think I've got a few good years left. I'm looking at this year as probably my last chance and best opportunity to do some cup racing. I'd still love to do some Xfinity after this, but yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep racing. Here's the thing, whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, if you're fast enough, you're going to get the job. So if I go fast enough and I can keep the job, then I'm going to be there battling. I can use that experience combined with the speed and try to get more wins. Are you returning to the booth soon?
I would love to return to the booth. My biggest issue, and it's no qualms with them, but like every Cup driver that retires seems to keep jumping to the booth. So I'm it's a bigger name than I am. I'm a small name in the NASCAR series, so I get bumped out of the way for that. But the opportunities that I've had through Spock Sports and the other people that I've worked with has been really cool.
Hi, I'm Parker Kligerman. For more access like this from Pit Road, be sure to click and subscribe to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel.